Another thing that I would be cautious about with contracts related to contracts that can cause big old problems if you're leaving unexpectedly is the front end bonuses, like the forgivable loans,
Yeah.
they call them. They frame it as a bonus, but it's really a forgivable loan based on staying a certain period of time. And those can be big surprises. They can also be big surprises tax wise, even if you do stay. A lot of times that's not quite clarified, and all of a sudden you have a tax surprise. But understanding what those terms are, preferably, so like, I mean, like in a perfect simple world, which is never the case, but like ideally, your employer covers your tail insurance. Ideally, there's no non-compete. And ideally, like the bonus is just your bonus and it's not tied to any level of service. That never happens, right? It's always going to have baggage attached. Like they don't just typically, I mean, like it's typically got some baggage attached if they're going to write you a big check. And sometimes they're long commitments. Like I've seen like 5 year.
Yeah, it's all risk and reward, right?
Yeah.
The risk is you might have to give us money back if you quit in 1 year, 5 years, 3 years, whatever it is. The reward is we're going to give you money right now, $20,000, put down a house or buy a vacation.
The problem with the job, especially a new job, is you're basing it off an unknown. Like, and the unknown is like, am I going to hate my job? Am I going to love my job? Am I going to be somewhere in the middle? And if you hate your job, in my opinion, it doesn't matter how much money you pay me. It's not worth it. Like, it's not worth it because you spend so much time in the job. The majority of your time living is your job. And if you're going to spend tons and tons of hours in a job that you hate, it doesn't matter how much money we're talking, it ain't worth it. So like you have to be careful when you're going into an unknown, especially, you know, brand new. I'm thinking people starting in practice for the first time or transitioning to a new location or whatever. Like you're going to a brand new employer. You don't know what their culture is, even though everybody's going to tell you these things like we're great and everybody's happy, but like you don't really know until you get in there, and things can change always. And these really long, you know, especially the long ones, like I've seen like 5 year commitment period on, or like a big bonus, big old bonus on the front end, 5 year commitment period. That can be like paralyzing, like just, and it amps up all this burnout stuff too. It's like if you're unhappy 6 months in and then you realize you've used that bonus to buy a house and real estate's been stagnant, it's like, I got no choice but to like grind it out.
Yeah. Now, again, there's ways that you can be creative with those types of things. You know, if someone's offering you $100,000 for a 5 year commitment, you could say, guys, I'm willing to do a 2 year commitment. And for that, I'd like $40,000, but then I'd like retention payments of $20,000 after year 2 and after year 3 and after year 4, or at the beginning of year 3 and the beginning of year 4 and the beginning of year 5, knowing that they may want, you can tie each of those to a 1 year repayment. That way, maybe at the end of 2.5 years, you know, you've received $60,000, but you only have to give back $10,000. You know, much more palatable, much depending on taxes in the state and, you know, your income and how you take it and everything else. Much different tax situation. Having $100,000 up front tax and then accruing interest for 5 years that you may or may have to give back at the full rate plus interest, even after you pay taxes on it. So lots of interesting ways that you can approach a situation like that, and that's just one of them. So, but again, like it's that may be proposed on the surface, but there might be some creative solutions to not saying I want 120,000 or I want the 100,000 forgiven over 3 years, but I want the 100,000 over 5, which is you said it's non-negotiable. I'm taking the 100 over 5. I'm just cutting up how I receive it, and that may be negotiable.
And that much more psychologically like tolerable, I guess. Like it's really difficult to get $100,000 and psychologically like not forget that you have to pay it back if you leave. It's just because you're going to tell yourself like, I'm good, it's going to work out, like everything's going to be fine. That's just what people do. They justify their thing, what's going on. And so,
and we can't predict the future.
No,
you know, so that's what's tough. That's what's tough.